gentlemen, first thing I want to do this week is take this tie off, because this is a piss poor attempt at trying to do up a tie. I do have a Wallsend tie. I do like how they wear them. A lot of their players feel like it's a bit much, but I really like the look that Wallsend can get around with, but I might just keep the Cooks Hill shirt on for now. Welcome to another week of Newysports TV. This week we've got a lot to get through. This is all one instalment. This is Sunday night. I normally record this over 2 nights, so we're going to go through the entire weekend in one very long 40-minute video. So let's get straight into it. I'm going to start differently this week, actually. No, I'm not. I was going to start with the NPL trial matches and that, so I can get them out of the way before I forget, but maybe I'll remember later. If not, they're only trials. But rightio, let's get straight into it. Today, Wallsend versus Cooks Hill was our feature match this week here at Newysports. Let's go straight into first grade. Wallsend FC 2 defeating Cooks Hill United 1. Now, I've written a fairly forgettable game. I'm not going to lie, I didn't really see too much of this game. I was socialising with a lot of the Wallsend guys, the 19s team, a few other people from the committee and whatnot, doing what good. I'm not just a reporter, I'm a bit of a, I don't know the word, but I don't just go to games and sit there and write. I like talking to people, meeting people from the clubs, socialising with the clubs, and Wallsend's a very good club. And let's get straight into Cooks Hill with a better side in the first half. From what I saw, some defensive areas proved costly. Red Devils took 2-1 lead into half time. That's how it would stay, actually. The goal scorers, Jackson Pett opening the scoring, getting another goal after a couple last week. 3 last week, there was a few last week for Jacko. Thomas Spare, love that pronunciation, I say it every week. Thomas Spare down the wing, crossing it in, Pett with the goal. Dave Hodgson getting both goals for Wallsend, including one that I didn't actually see. I'm told that Cooks Hill keeper Kai Roth had it in his hand and Hodjo headed it out. I don't know what happened. It was weird. I didn't see it, so I can't really comment too much. 2-1 win for Wallsend. They'll take some positives out of this. Cooks Hill's not an easy beat team, and with that in mind, Cooks Hill today weren't at their best. I was talking to a few people from inside the Cooks Hill camp. A few thought that it was pretty piss poor, but a few also thought that it wasn't really that bad. So I'm going in the middle. There's definitely room for improvement, and I think there's some teams in the league that you can maybe get away with a performance like that and come away with a win, but Cooks Hill should be better than that, and they should be attacking better and finding better combinations, and most importantly, the defense needs to be a little bit more in tune. Let's move through the first grade games. Let's do all the first grade games. Cessnock City 2 defeated by Toronto Awaba 4. Finally, some happiness for Toronto Awaba. It's been a long wait, hasn't it, between wins. It's been 8 trial matches, two games this season, not a single win. They've done it. Jake Peters scoring for getting carded for Cessnock in the very first minute. I'm not really sure how bad this tackle must have been bad. Wade Atwell scoring his 3rd goal of the season, I'm going to say. He's in good form. I might be wrong with that tally, but who knows. Hornets take a 1-0 lead, and I yawed for the first time in this video, first of many times no doubt. Toronto equalised through Mayon Manyang. Luke Maloney put the Stags ahead, but Sam Garrity hit back. 2-2 at half time. Tim Salter broke the stalemate. and in the 64th, that was in the 64th minute. Not moments, but a few minutes later, Luke Jefsewski sealed the deal for his father's squad, Tony Jefsewski being the coach, so coach's son scores the winning goal, 4-2 for the Stags. Can't go wrong with that, can ya? A long-awaited win after a very tough start to the season for Toronto. Definitely a result that Cessnock did not need. It's not a good result for Cessnock there. I don't really know what to say. I don't know how the game played out, but 4-2 on paper, it looks like they were outplayed. They need to work on things and get it in order, or else, they will fall away from top 4 contention. Whether the people out there that put Cessnock in that top 4 contention, I think all teams want to aim for that, and Cessnock are on 1 point, Belswans are on 9. That's a long way from the top, isn't it? Cessnock definitely need to start winning games. I think that's what they want. That's what everybody wants. Nobody's here to lose or draw or whatnot. Talking about draws, South Cardiff 1, Drew Singleton Strikers 1, Winston Oku scoring the goal for South Cardiff. I loved Winston when he was at Wallsend, one of my favourite players there. And he's going to add a lot to the South East squad. I think he'll suit them well. But it was cancelled out by Jackson Cox from Singleton, scoring his first goal of the actual season, but when you count the pre-season, he has a lot of goals in FFA Cup, and Jackson's just the goal scorer, and he got the job done for Singleton today. Both teams had chances, I've been told. Neither could get the winner. It happens. We move on. Well, first of all, a better result for Singleton on the road. They won't want to draw too many more games, though. South Cardiff definitely, they'll need to step up next week against Cahibah. They could be in for a real tough day. I feel like if any team in this competition goes out there and doesn't give 100% against Cahibah, they could get smashed. I'm not going to lie. There's a reason they have 14 goals in 2 games, and they did have the bye this week, so can't really talk about them too much, but they're the ladder leaders, not anymore, but they had the bye, so they can't get 3 points. The best team in the comp at the moment, and yeah, definitely South Cardiff. That's 3 times I've yawned. I'm too busy to do this tomorrow, but we're doing it now. West Wallsend 0, Drew Lake Macquarie City 0. Hard fought draw for Westie. This is a great result for Westie. Ryan Cole getting sent off, but they held on. I've been told they were the better team, and that was from someone within the Lakes camp. So that's definitely something to take in mind. Lakes won't be happy with this. Westie got pretty much outplayed by Belswans last week, so Lakes drawing, they're not going to be very pleased with only having 4 points after 3 rounds. That's really not the bar that they wanted to set this year, and I think you'll see Lakes come out next week and really fire against whoever they've got. I don't remember who they've got. They've got Singleton at home, I think. Possibly Thornton. One of the two. Possibly away, I don't even know. You'd think I know, but I don't. I'll be at the Wallsend Derby next week, more on that later. Belswans 3 defeated Thornton 2. Is there any stopping the Belswans? Anyone? Step up right now. Cahibah, maybe. They didn't dominate this game. I've been told that Thornton were a very good side. They just couldn't get the job done, and it happened last week. Thornton just didn't have the luck. They go down 3-2. We're about to take a break so I can go get a drink. This is just too much yawning. Third straight win for Brad Paul's side. Thornton took a 2-1 lead into half-time. Goals to Talon Martin and Jesse Smith. Belswans got one back, a crucial goal right on the half-time whistle with Joel Shearer, club captain I believe. 2-1 at the half-time break. Within 10 minutes of the second half starting, Jamie Hadlow scored, Joel Shearer scored again, 3-2 Belswans. That's how it'll stay. They're on 9 points. And I'll sit here and I'll admit that I was one of a fair few in the pre-season that heard rumours about Belmont Swansea and player retention and numbers and whatnot. There's none of that. There's none of that. They're leading the competition, and they've certainly shut me up. And I know that a lot of the Belswan guys won't want a big deal made out of this. They just want to carry on with what they're doing, and they will. But this is, besides Cahaiba, this is the best team in the competition, and they're still in the FFA Cup. And who knows? Who knows? 9 points after 3 rounds. You can't do better than that. And I think they've got Singleton next week. I think that's where Singleton go. They're going to Belswans. And then in 2 weeks' time, the feature match that weekend here on Newysports, Cahaiba versus Belswans. I was going to say get your tickets, but it's not really a pre-ticketed event. But book something. Book some seats. Get to the ground for that game, Cahaiba versus Belswans. It's going to be brilliant. I'm not going to move on to the 23s just yet. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go get a drink, and I'm going to come back a bit refreshed. Alright, we're back. The old Ribena blackcurrant juice. That'll keep me going for the rest of this video. You'd hope. Maybe coffee. I don't know. I'm not a very long weekend. I only had one game this weekend. Apologies to Belswans and Thornton. I would have loved to have got there for that game. Had my own playing commitments and we won. So just want to get that out there. Cookers. Don't ask what grade. It's not a very good grade. 23s, let's move on. First of all, Wallsend FC 3 defeating Cooksville United 1. I was going to say 2, I was going to say 0, I was going to say 1. That 1 came from Asher Beasley, but let's talk about Wallsend first. This was the worst I've seen Cooksville play this year. In saying that, there's been 3 games, so they just did not really show up, and I felt like the communication was lacking a little bit. They didn't have Max Saveckles there, the coach. The assistant coach did a decent job, but I think Max really brings something, and the 23s last year didn't have a set coach on the sideline, and I feel like you need that, and I feel like having an assistant coach fill in. There's some good assistant coaches out there, but most head coaches will agree that you're the head coach. You know, Max, of course, was busy. He made the club aware last week, so that's not ripping on Max. I'm just saying if he had been there, I feel like maybe the communication would have been a little bit better, the set structures and whatnot. But credit to Max, he was very good coach from what I've seen, and this side have started the season well, and I was on the sideline taking photos, and 2 minutes to go, straight away the assistant coach was on the phone to Max, so that says something, because you know, even if he's not at the game, he's still wanting to know the results. It's good to see. I feel like I'm yapping on about just random stuff at the moment. Let's talk about the coach that was there, Chris Wallace. His side came away with well-earned 3 points today. Jason Zeckel opening the scoring. No, it's not a Cessnock game. There is a Zeckel, and he's not at Cessnock. Is that even a joke? I don't know if that registers as a joke. Good celebration from Jason Zeckel. Bit of a front flip, and I'm not going to lie, Jason Zeckel scored the goal. I got my notepad, and I may or may not have wrote one of his brothers' names down. I'm not going to say which one. I feel like it's the randomest one of all to write, being one of the new players at Cessnock, but I didn't write Jason Zeckel, I wrote a different Zeckel, and then I thought, hang on a minute, what am I doing? But yes, it was Jason Zeckel that scored. He's the one that's at Wallsend, and he got it past a very strong Adam Gunster today in goals for Cooks Hill. Gunster? I feel like Gunster sounds weird. I'm going to say Gunster. Adam Gunster. Bloody no. It's a German name. I'll give you that. Zeckel and Gunster. German background. Yes, Adam was very strong in goals for Cooks Hill today. His best game that I've seen. I'm not going to say by far, that makes it sound like all these other games were crap, but very good saves today from Adam Gunster. Gunster. I'm used to saying Gumps. No Gumps this week. Trent Richards doubled the lead for Wallsend moments later with a header, and then he also got a goal later on. Asher Beasley scored for Cooks Hill, made it 2-1. Trent Richards killed it off 4 minutes from time with a nice volley. Played defence last year, but he's always been a striker, I've been told, and he was back there today and he did a very good job. We move on. I'm getting a lot of comments and messages as I'm doing this, so I apologise for those people. Cessnock City 3 drew Toronto Awabba 3, Caleb Whiting giving Cessnock a lead. I'm not sure, I could have swore he was a Toronto player. I checked the team list, I don't know. There's too many players to remember. Equaliser from Tim Stones saw Toronto back in the contest. And then Hornets took a 3-1 lead, Stingers took a 3-1 lead into half-time. Jordan Tully and Brody Egan scoring the goals. Brody, the little man, getting on the score sheet. Can't go wrong there. Came very close to scoring the game I watched the other week. Second half though, Stags 23s, they were down 3-1 at half-time. They were humiliated last week by Cooks Hill, and they were humiliated again during the week because they were forced to wear Aston Villa shirts to training. Sorry to any Villa fans out there, I know there's a couple around the league. Blake Carpenter and Tim Stone scored 2 goals, made it 3-3. Hard-earned result for the visitors, but 2 points dropped for Cessnock City. South Cardiff 2 defeated Singleton 1. James Wooten scoring the goal to put South Cardiff ahead. And in the final 5 minutes, Adam Nicholas doubled the lead. James Bates scored on full time to make it 2-1. Too little, too late. South Cardiff 2-1. That's some good poetic material right there. South Cardiff moving up in the 23s. Not sure if they're in the top 4. Don't quote me on that. West Wallsend 0, defeated by Lake Macquarie City 2. 2 goals to Jordan Harper on either side of half-time. Pretty simple result there. Lake's just too good for West Wallsend. Westies stay at the bottom of the table. Belmont Swansea 4, defeating Thornton Redbacks 1. Tim Gleeson put the Redbacks ahead early on, but it wouldn't last. Own goal to Mitch Kaczynski, nearly got it right for the first time. Goals also to William Dundas, Mason Bahatko and Daniel Horgan. Solid win for Belswans, and how about Will Dundas? Scored, no spoilers, but he scored 2 goals in the 19s and then he played 23s. And I said to someone at somewhere, I was at Wallsend, I forget who I was talking to. I was talking to one of the Wallsend coaches, I believe, and I said, last week the Belswan 19s looked really good and Will Dundas looked very good, and playing 23s doesn't surprise me. I'm not the coach, but I wouldn't be surprised if he plays off the bench in first grade at some point this year. Very good player from what I've seen in just one game. Good to see Thornton, whilst they lost in the 23s, it was good to see some names from last year's 17s team. I'm kind of cold, the fan's on, but it's kind of a bit chilly in here at the moment. Good to see some names from the 17s team last year. Travis Howard, Jesse Bradford, Connor Galbraith, all 3 of them subbing on in the 23s. sort of made me think, that's a little bit, I don't know, I haven't seen them play since last year, so, but it seems a bit strange. They're only new to 19s, especially a couple of them, like Radford, I think, was Player of the Year in the 17s last year at Thornton, but it's good to see nonetheless. You know, you need these young guys, 17, 18, 19, playing 23s, that's what it should be. It shouldn't be first grade rejects who are 29 and, you know, 6 of them and then a couple young guys. No, that's not how it works. That's not, and you know, that's not how it is this year. That's how it was at some clubs last year. They would have long-term first graders that can't do it anymore, playing reserves. That's not how it works in the 23s, and I'm happy about that. Let's move on before I go completely off topic again. Under 19s, Wallsend FC 2 defeated by Cooks Hill United 5. Not 7, 5. There's no 7-2 this week. Apologise for those people who like 7-2. There's none of that. Jake Sullivan opened the scoring for the Red Devils. It was doubled 16 minutes later by Nick Hagan scoring a header. I believe he's a defender. Defenders normally score headers. That would explain it, right? 2015 under-17 semi-finalist up 2-0 inside 35 minutes. I thought game over. I thought that it's going to fall 5-0 over Cooks Hill. This Cooks Hill team is brilliant though. They came back, they stormed back. Seb Lewis got a penalty, he converted it himself. Asher Beasley got a tap in. Some good work from Asher today. Very good player and someone Cooks Hill need at the moment because the depth at the club. There are people falling left, right and centre in the 17s and 19s. There was a lot of players out today and Asher Beasley did a very good job today of playing two games. Don't get that wrong. That was on the other side of half time, so 2-2. Seb Lewis scored again, putting the visitors ahead in the 60th minute. 5 minutes later it was 4-2, Eli Collins scoring off a rebound. Good to see Eli get a run in the 19s. I really think he's doing a brilliant job in the 17s this year. Up front, for a bit of a change from last year, but doing a good job and rewarded today. Jackson Graham scoring the final goal from a corner. It went directly into the net, and I was sitting on the sideline near the Cooks Hill bench, that side of the field, so it was a fair way away. Wallsend weren't very happy. There was a lot of yelling and somehow the ball ended up in the net. 5-2, 4-2, there's not much difference. It was a goal anyway. Jackson Graham getting that goal. And as I said, Cooks Hill were short on numbers, and indeed Wallsend. Some 17s players playing in this grade for Cooks Hill: Campbell Guest, Eli Collins, Gilbert Harabakunzi, Caleb Green, Damon White, and the goalkeeper Eamon Doyle, who was very good today. So you've got six under-17s players playing 19s, and I believe there was 4 or 5 19s players out from last week's team for various reasons. Wallsend also, they are just plagued with injuries. I spoke to a couple of their players at the end of the day, and I was told this list of players they've got that are injured. You know, Danny Herible's still injured, Connor Matthews injured. There's another one, I can't remember his name. I think it's Daniel something. A lot of injuries nonetheless for the Wallsend 19s. And today their goal scorer Jake Sullivan was stretched off at full time with a suspected knee injury. MCL ligament is what I was told. I'm hoping it's not. It's not good. It's falling apart for the Wallsend 19s, and whilst they were up 2-0, you've got to criticise them a little bit for dropping off, but this wasn't their full strength squad, and they're ravaged with injury, and it's a horror show at the moment. They are falling like dominoes with the knee injuries, and it's not good to see. And well wishes to Jake, and be good to see him, and indeed, you know, Danny and Connor and whoever else there is injured. Some of them might be out for the season, I'm not quite sure, but it'd be good to see a few of them getting back sooner rather than later. It's not good for the side to have that many players out. They'll battle on though. They're a really passionate team, the Wallsend 19s. I like that team. They're one of my favourite squads in the whole comp. A very good bunch of guys. Cessnock City 2 drawing Toronto Wobber 2. You got to feel for Cessnock. They're up 2-0 at half time. Kyle Gillis scoring 2 goals. He's in some form at the moment, the 17 striker. And then they were forced to sort of sub some players off to keep them fresh for 23s. Not an ideal situation. Toronto came back. 69th minute goal to Will Stevenson and a late equaliser from Rory Jamieson, and I never thought I'd say that. The fullback scoring an equaliser. I have no idea how it happened, if it was a corner, no idea what happened, but very, very late equaliser from Rory. Good to see. Making his father proud, that's for sure. The coach, Lindsay Jamieson. Good to see them get a result on the road, but I feel like this is 2 points dropped for Cessnock City. South Cardiff 1, defeated by Singleton Strikers 2. Liam Tyndall scoring early on, but Singleton, this was the comeback of the season so far. Luke Geipel sent off for a straight red card in the 20th minute or so. Singleton came from behind. 58th minute goal to Nathan Smart. 3 minutes later, Nathan Hall getting on the score sheet. 2-1. These guys are good, the Singleton 19s. And I'll tell you right now, like if you look at the 19s table on Newysports, there's a shout out. If you look at the table, there's 6 or 7 teams who are all up on 6 points or so. The 19s comp is the best. It's the most competitive competition in the league. I'm not going to lie there. I'm not. It's the best competition. It's not the most important. Let's be honest, first grade's the most important competition, but the 19s I feel is the most entertaining. It's the most competitive. And 3 weeks into the season, I'm really enjoying the amount of teams that actually compete in the 19s. I'm just going to do something really quickly and just spin this around just to make sure this is recording, because if this wasn't recording I was going to be very annoyed. But it is. So we carry on. Singleton moving to 2-2 with their backs against the wall. Southie dropping points at home. Simple as that. West Wallsend, this is the result of the round right here. Any grade. Any grade, this is the result of the round. Under 19s, West Wallsend 3, Lake Macquarie City 1. Jack Russo scoring the goal early on. Samuel Jones scoring. James Barnes, Matt Turner, 3 points for Westie 19s. You can't get any better than that, beating the premiership favourites, apart from maybe beating Cahiba. But Lakes are a very good team in the 19s, and this is a big win for Westie. Confidence booster after a loss last week. And we move on to the final 19s game. Belmont Swansea 7 defeated Thornton 0. Not a week goes by in this league without a team scoring 7 goals, and unfortunate for Thornton 19s, it was Belswans this week. Joel Nicholson's been in great form. He scored 4 goals, a hat-trick before half-time, 2 goals to Will Dundas before half-time, 5-0 at the break. And then of course Nicholson and Lodge, Cameron Lodge scoring the goals in the second half. Big win for Belswans 19s. I didn't know what to expect from this team. They'd lost a couple players from last year that I thought were some of their better players. James Youngbury to 23s, Matt Ellis to 23s / first grade. But they've come out, and the addition of Will Dundas to this team, and he's a very good player, and Joel Nicholson's he's in crazy form at the moment. I think he scored the other night in the FFA Cup. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 7-0 over Thornton. Thornton, I think they had a scoreless draw or something last week. This is a very, very harsh reality check for the Thornton Redbacks 19s, and They'll want to put this behind them sooner rather than later. We move to the 17s now at making good time tonight. 17s at, I was going to say Westy, but it was at Wallsend. That'll do. Wallsend 1, Drew Cookshill United 1, hard fought game. Cooper McLean scoring the first goal. McLean, not McLean. Learn to read. McLean scoring the first goal, 35th minute, on the rebound after a decent save from Eamon Doyle. Cook is lucky not to be down by more. The defending was sloppy at best. Both sides struggled to clear the ball at times. It was a good game to watch in periods. It was a pretty crap game to watch in periods. That's most games at the Gardeners today were like that. Cameron Walmsley scoring the equaliser. That's how I'd say 1-1 draw. For the Cookers, Caleb Green was one of their better players. Eamon Doyle fearless in goals, putting his body on the lines at time, and played the 19s with Emerson Gosling missing today. Eamon Doyle played both 17s and 19s. He did a very good job of it. He just gets down and does the job. And he's not really a character like some goalkeepers you see around the league. Just does what he has to do, and he did a good job of it today. A draw and a win, so he'd be very happy with his day. Cookers need to be more clinical. They need to put more venom in their shot. The amount of shots I saw today in all 4 grades, it just half chances just tapped to the goalkeeper. I want to see power shots. I want to see people hold down that circle button, hold down B, and let the power bar fill up. There's a reference for it. Anyone who's never played FIFA will have no idea what I'm talking about, but you don't just tap it to the goalkeeper. This is to everyone in the league. There's so many shots. Just sting the gloves, get them on target, aim for the top corner, whatever. Definitely should have been more goals scored in the 17s today. For Wallsend, Jacob Ray was one of their best players. Cooper McLean, of course, scoring that goal. And let me tell you, this team, this Wallsend 17s team, I watched them in pre-season. I sat here and I said harsh words, didn't I? It was deserved on that day. It was a pretty poor performance. Then they got beat 10-0, 10-1, 10-2, something like that. Any score that has 10 in it is not a good score. And that was against NPL oppositions. They've settled in now. It's an entirely different team from what I saw 5 or 6 weeks ago now. And full credit has to go to Craig Sembelis and his side. They've got the belief to really do some damage this year, and held Cookshill to a draw, and it was good to see a decent performance across the park. The defenders were strong today, and Darcy Hall captaining the team today, really good. Angus Hall as well, good to see start at left back, and sort of has a bit more confidence in his game. Individually, I think Wallsend have improved, and as a collective, I think they've improved in the 17s, and it's good to see. And I'll be watching Wallsend over the next 2 weeks, in the derby next week, and then Cessnock the week after, so we get to see these guys play a bit more. And they're coming into the Wallsend way. There's a way to play at Wallsend. There's a respect. There's it's a really good club. You can say that about a lot of clubs in the league. Most, if not all clubs, have a real set way about how they do things, whether it be good or bad. This game was soured by a very horrific arm injury to Angus Davies from Cookshill. I'm not going to lie, he went in for a slide tackle. It was a yellow card slide tackle. It should have been a yellow card, but he broke his arm, so there was no yellow card, there was a stoppage. He went to slide in and tried to use his arm as support, and they've stopped the game straight away, and he's come off, his hand looking more like that. Pretty gruesome, I'm not going to lie. I was up in the grandstand for the later games. I was down on the sideline, so I'm quite thankful I wasn't on the sideline for that. It looked really painful and not good for Angus, and not good for Cooks Hill. They had 2 on the bench today in the 17s. They had a few guys out, and the numbers, there's injuries, the numbers, I seriously think Cooks Hill need 1 or 2 more players in 17s and 19s just for injury backup. I've heard, I wasn't going to mention this, but a get well to Angus Davies and a get well to Ty Cousins from Cooks Hill, who I believe did very, very bad damage to his hand, getting it caught in a door or something. I was speaking to one of the club committee members about this, and I don't want to be wrong here, but I believe he may have lost a finger or 2 in this incident. That sends shivers down my spine. I've got a finger injury, I might have a finger that's permanently a bit dodgy, but losing fingers, I really hope I might have got a wrong report there, but my source was pretty legit source from the club vice president, so get well to both of them, and get well to Jake Sullivan from Wallsend. No one would see these injuries, it just scares me talking about it. I'm hoping I don't have to deal with that this season. Cessnock City 1, defeated by Toronto Awaba 4. Maybe I'm shivering because this fan's on. It's pretty cold in here. Tory Beveridge scoring the goal for the Hornets early on. Nick Woodman scored the equaliser to put Toronto level. And then it was all Toronto. Caleb Trimboli scoring again. He's good, isn't he? That's what, 3 or 4 in 2 weeks. And Luke Gibbons scoring 2 goals as well. Good to see Gibbo get on the score sheet. Toronto 17s, I'll be loving that win. They won last week, so that's 2 in a row for Toronto 17s, and I've heard a few people say they should have beat Wallsend in round 1, so definitely looking good for Toronto 17s. Cessnock have to think about things again. John Ridgen scoring, getting red carded, not scoring. I got messages team sheet for this game. I don't think Cessnock had added their substitutions. If not, they didn't have substitutions. There was 11 Cessnock players on the team sheet. It looked like a finalised team sheet. I can't confirm that or not, but Cessnock may not have had the numbers in 17s today to have subs, so definitely something to think about there. South Cardiff 2 defeated by Singleton Strikers 3. How about this Singo 17s team? The depth at Singleton, 17s, 19s. James Croucher scoring 2 goals. This guy can play 17s, 19s, 23s. Maybe bench first grade, but definitely he can play any of those lower 3 grades. He's a very good player. He scored 2 goals. Trey Proudlock scoring as well, and it's Trey from last year, I believe, just played 17s this year, coming off the bench in 19s. So obviously rewarded for his work. Scored last week or the week before. They had a bye last week. I don't know. I'm trying to keep a spreadsheet of all the goal scorers, but James Croucher and Trey Proudlock were the scorers there for Singleton in the opening 50 minutes of the game. Southie hit back late through Lucas Emmett Morley, scoring another goal, and Finn Merrick. Don't remember that name from last week. I don't know if he's a new addition or wasn't enough anyway. Singleton winning 3-2. Over at West Wallsend 1 defeated by Lake Macquarie City 3. Josh Knight was back in the 17s for the first time this year, picked up a goal. I don't think he got carded this week. I haven't checked. I should check. That should be the first thing I check. Cancelled out by goals to Callum Garbett and Jack Smith. Garbett scoring 2 of those goals. Lakes coming away with a hard-fought 3-1 victory. Last but not least, Belmont Swansea 2 defeating Thornton Redbacks 1. Probably the most dramatic game of the weekend. Josh Davis giving Thornton the lead 1-0. It was cancelled out in the 52nd minute by Harrison Rapp. And then the final kick of the game. I'm not sure if it was a header, I'm not sure if it was a kick, I'm not sure what it was. Lachlan McMaster scored to win the game in the final minute for Belswans. And that's brilliant for Belswans, very good to see. Lachlan's a very good player, and it's shown by the fact that he plays 19s off the bench. And heartbreak for Thornton 17s. This isn't the first time this has happened. The only game I've ever seen Thornton 17s play was last year at Cooks Hill, and this same thing happened. They lost in the 80th minute. It's unfortunate, but Thornton 17s will definitely win a game this year. Mark my words, they didn't win a game last year, they will this year. And it will happen in the next few weeks. And they're a very decent squad, I'm not going to lie. From what I've heard, I haven't seen them play, but you know, I feel like I can judge squads on results and what I hear from people, and I can't be everywhere at once, I'm only one person. But anyway, that's that. We move on. We move on very, very quickly to some NPL trial match results. If I can find them. It's not looking good. I do know one off the top of my head though. Western Workers were leading Broadmeadow Magic 3-0 with 25 minutes to go in a trial match, first grade. Western 3-0. The game ended Broadmeadow 6, Western 4. Now I'm going to sit here and I'm going to ask, what the hell happened to the defenders in this game for both teams? I'm picturing 8 people just leaving the ground and getting in their cars and driving home. 3-0 with 25 minutes to go and you lose 6-4. Western will be very happy that's a trial match, but they cannot do that during the season. That's a crazy, crazy result, isn't it? And I don't normally mention NPL trial matches, but I just feel like that was really out there as just a strange result. Yesterday it was, I believe it was up at Western. I was going to go through the NPL Youth results, but what I'm going to do for the NPL Youth, it's not going to be covered in the same way as the UFM League, but I'm going to try and get the ladders and whatnot posted tomorrow or Tuesday, during the week at least. What I am going to do for the NPL is I'm going to do a different system to what Northern do. I'm going to add the 17s into the top 3 grades. Of course it's not the same fixtures, it's not the same clubs. Mid-North Coast are in the 17s, they're not in the 19s, but I'm not going to go through all the lower grades, 13s, 14s, 15s. I don't have the time for that. I'm sorry to those guys, but this is a New FM show, this is a New FM website, so I will cover NPL though, and let's get into it. Hamilton Olympic 3 defeating Western Workers 0 in the under-17s fixture yesterday. Trying to get goal scorers for each of these, but I don't know if they're posted. They're not, so let's not go there for goal scorers. But Hamilton Olympic 3-0 over Western. Edgeworth 4-1 over Maitland. Adamstown beating the Emerging Jets 1-0. And Broadmeadow Magic 7 defeating Mid-North Coast 0. And those are the under-17s fixture results for the Northern New South Wales NPL Youth Competition. And I'm trying to get results from Valentine, and there are none. Actually, yes there are, someone messaged them. This is all off the top of my head. I wasn't going to be planning on doing this. This is why I have all the new FM stuff written down. I don't have any NPL stuff written down, but I'm not going to lie, at the moment this is an absolute mess. I'm killing time, and I apologise. Under 17s Valentine free, drawing Charlestown free, and a mention of the under 15s result, Valentine 8-4. I'll just leave it at that. That's a big score, isn't it? 8-4 at Crowders Bay Complex. Crowders Bay? Is that right? I don't know if that's right. Something like that. I'm not going to lie, I don't know my lakeside geography very much. Toronto's on the west, Belswans is on the east. Spears Point, Lake Macquarie City is on the north. I know that much, but I don't really know Crowders Bay too well. So yeah, that's the result there, and I'm just looking for any other real standout results, and there's not many. NPL Youth Wrap-Up, look on the website, I'll talk about that comp. Try and keep track of the Women's Premier League result. Let's do that right now. I feel like that's first grade at least should be included on this video. Eventually there'll be Zone League, there'll be NPL. This video, once the season for those competitions start, this video could go for hours and hours. I'm not going to lie, I'll try and cut it down, but there's a lot to get through. And when I can't find competitions, it's very difficult. So this week, no result yet from Adamstown and Wallsend in the Women's Premier League. Up at Mid-North Coast, drew 3-3 with South Wallsend, and over at Myambla Crescent, the greatest field in Newcastle. I'm not going to lie about that one. Merriweather 2 defeating Warners Bay 1 in the Women's Premier League first grade results. And of course our Jets going to Melbourne and picking up a 1-1 draw. Strange, with 10 men. Decent performance by Scott Miller and the guys. Good to see. The Knights also drawing. I'm not a Knights fan, I'll get that to you, but this is Newysports, and the Knights and the Jets and Newy, they both drew, and it's not normally a rugby league thing on this site. These videos, I might start including the rugby league results around town. These videos can go for 5 hours, seriously, if I include everything that I'd like to include. I'm just going to say right now about the Knights, real quickly, go and learn how to kick a field goal. And that's to the Raiders as well. Horrific. And then, let's try and get this out of the way. Field goals and that. I'm not a big fan of Golden Point, but what happened with the Rabbitohs today, Greg Inglis, if anyone saw that, I'm sure you did. You're down 8-6, you kick a field goal with a second to go, and you miss. I admit that I get distracted when I'm playing, but I at least know what the score is. I don't know how that happened. Some crazy sports today, like that game down Sydney with the Rabbitohs, and the rain was crazy. Hope, and the horror injury to Sam Burgess, hope he's good. This is going way off topic, isn't it? But I feel like it's still on topic somehow. If there's one thing I want you to watch this week, well, you're already on YouTube because you're watching this. Go and Google or YouTube, search the F1 crash, Fernando Alonso. It won't disappoint. I have no idea how he did not die today. One of the craziest car crashes I've ever seen. I do like to watch a bit of racing every now and then. One of these days I will get to the Australian Grand Prix and I will get permanent ear damage from it. that's pretty much it. We've got some stuff in the background here, as you can see. Cessnock City scarf, Belswans shirt, Singleton shirt, Lake shirt, the Wallsend tie right here, the Cooks Hill shirt on the Cardiff shirt somewhere, and I'm pretty sure there's some other teams. There are other teams, I know there's other teams. Yes, there's West Wallsend shirt somewhere. I don't know if I've got any South Cardiff stuff. I've got enough red and white shirts, I'll just pretend it's South Cardiff. Yeah, let's end the video here. This is completely going over time. It's 10:41, that's very early for me, so I'm very happy that I got all this done, and a real good week of action in the new FM First Division. For any ladders or stats or anything like that, go to Newysports. And that's about it. I don't know if there's anything else. Next week, how about next week? How about I say what I'm doing next week? That'd be smart. 4 fixtures on Good Friday. There are fixtures at West Wallsend, there's a fixture at Lakes, there's a fixture at South Cardiff, and I think there's a fixture at Belswans. Not sure on that, I'm doing that off the top of my head. Let's have a look. It's right here anyway. So Belswans versus Singleton next Friday, Lake Macquarie versus Thornton, West Wallsend versus Wallsend, South Cardiff versus Cardiff. Good Friday, I'm going to be at the Wallsend Derby. I'm going to have the speaker system there. It's going to be a very fun day. I'm looking forward to it. Keep an eye out during the week. I wanted to put together a small documentary about the history of Wallsend and West Wallsend football clubs. I'm not going to have the time, I'm not going to have the resources. If I was going to do it, I'd do it properly and go to the clubs and interview the presidents and interview this and interview these guys and all the players and, you know, just history. I feel like that's something that could be done at the end of the season or something, a bit of a project. 2 proud clubs, and if you don't have a game to get to on Friday, get to this one. I don't care where they are on the table in any of the grades, it's going to be hard fought in every single grade. 17s is going to be a cracking match. 19s is probably the match of the day, maybe. 23s will be decent, important game for Westie, and first grades it's going to be brilliant. And I'm sitting here now and I can tell you that I would not be surprised to see West Wallsend win the derby. And it would be one of their biggest wins in years, to knock off Wallsend in the derby. Can't wait for it. I'm excited. I'm happy to be doing the speaker there. I'm looking forward to it. And then of course next Saturday, the only game next Saturday is Cooks Hill versus Cessnock City. Newysports will be there. Of course, I play at Cooks Hill, so you'd think I'd be at Cooks Hill's game. Speaker system as well, and all the PA announcements and music, and it's going to be a good weekend next week. Happy Easter to all of you. Yeah, it's going to be a cracking 2 days of football next week. It's been a good couple of days of football this week. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to say Belswan boys are happy. I'm Ty Stedman. I will see you next week.